The 1,000-hour myth. Most boat owners believe 1,000 hours is just breaking in. Manufacturers know better. Their warranties cap between 300 and 500 hours. Service log data shows roughly 30% of gasoline marine engines never reach 500 hours. It's a predictable pattern that mechanics see every week. The engine that dies at 400 hours didn't fail suddenly. It was dying for 200 hours before anyone noticed. Flip open a Yamaha or Mercury warranty booklet, and the truth is right there in black and white. The powerhead, the heart of the engine, gets 3 years or 300 hours, whichever comes first. The full outboard assembly stretches to 5 years or 500 hours, but never more. The fine print is unflinching. Warranty is void after 300 operational hours or 36 months. There is no mention of a 1,000-hour promise, no hint of a minimum design life. Instead, the language is all limits, all ceilings. A dealer might point to a brochure that claims engines can last well over 1,000 hours with proper care, but that is marketing copy, not a contract. The real number stamped on every warranty card is half that or less. Mechanics see the fallout every spring. 30% of gasoline outboards never even reach the 500-hour mark before a catastrophic failure. The owner thinks low hours means safety, but the service log tells a different story. One mechanic puts it bluntly: "We see the damage in April." The owner did everything wrong in October. The engine that dies at 400 hours did not fail overnight. It was dying for 200 hours before anyone noticed. If the official paperwork sets the ceiling at 300 or 500 hours, what does that say about the stories dealers tell on the showroom floor? How many engines are quietly written off before anyone realizes the warranty clock ran out months ago, and what exactly is hiding behind that promise of a 1,000-hour life? Service logs don't lie. In shop after shop, the same numbers keep showing up. Nearly 1 out of every 3 gasoline outboards is hauled in dead before the hour meter even clicks past 500. That's not a fluke. That's a pattern. Mechanics open the work order, see the hour count, maybe 420, maybe 370, and already know what they'll find inside. The owner is baffled, convinced that low hours mean a healthy engine. But the teardown tells a different story. Blown head gaskets from silent overheating, impellers with vanes curled and brittle, crank bearings scored black by oil that nobody bothered to change. The logbook fills up with the same phrases: coolant leak, bearing scuff, overheat shutdown. The data piles up. Aggregated invoices from 3 major service chains show that about 30% of gasoline marine engines never reach 500 hours before a catastrophic failure puts them on the scrap list. That's not a rare event. It is a third of all engines, cut down before they are halfway to the number everyone expects. The bar graph in the back office isn't just a chart, it's a warning. Each spring, a fresh wave of owners drag their boats in, still believing a low-hour engine is a safe bet. Mechanics shake their heads. We see the damage in April. The owner did everything wrong in October. Every engine that dies at 400 hours didn't just break overnight. It spent the last 200 hours failing in slow motion. The question isn't how many hours are on the meter. It's how many silent warning signs were ignored before the engine finally quit. So what's really lurking behind those low-hour claims? A northern marina manager, arms crossed and jaw tight, sums up the spring ritual. We see the damage in April. The owner did everything wrong in October. Each year, the first warm days bring a parade of cracked blocks and ruined engines. The root cause is simple: water left in the cooling system over winter. When temperatures drop, that water expands by nearly 9% as it freezes, splitting cast iron and aluminum from the inside out. The fracture might start as a hairline, invisible to the naked eye, but by the time the engine is loaded up for the first run, the crack grows and the block fails catastrophically. The repair bill lands between $4,500 and $7,200, and the warranty is almost always void. Owner failure to winterize is stamped in red across the denial letter. But the cold is not the only silent killer. The raw water impeller, a $45 rubber disc buried in the pump housing, is the heart of the cooling system. It spins at thousands of revolutions per minute, pulling in lake water or seawater to keep the engine from cooking itself. Over time, heat cycling makes the vanes brittle. Abrasive grit, algae, and barnacles chew up the edges. Mechanics know the real-world service interval is 300 to 500 hours, not the 3-year schedule printed in the manual. Miss a swap, and the impeller starts to fail quietly. Coolant flow drops, temperature climbs, and the cylinder heads warp before the gauge even reacts. The April spike is brutal. Block repair orders jump 250%, all because of a missed step or a $45 part. The dominoes start falling the moment the owner trusts a shortcut. How many engines are already dying right now from last fall's overlooked checklist? A charter captain once ignored a sputtering engine, chalking it up to bad gas. 2 weeks later, both outboards died mid-charter. The culprit, E10 fuel, had drawn water from humid air and separated into layers. The lower layer, dense with water and dissolved varnish, clogged the vapor separator and fouled the injectors. Mechanics see this every season. Engines left idle in warm, damp weather come in with corroded pump diaphragms and filters packed with sludge. Ethanol's hygroscopic nature means phase separation can start as soon as fuel sits unused, quietly sabotaging from within. But the fuel tank isn't the only battleground. Saltwater owners face galvanic corrosion, stray currents and salt ions eat away at aluminum housings, and sacrificial anodes. In the bay, a zinc anode can vanish in under a year. Miss one inspection, and the next haul-out reveals pitted lower units and corroded water jackets. Freshwater owners aren't immune. Rainwater in the tank or stale E10 can trigger the same decay. Saltwater engines demand annual anode swaps, while lake boats might stretch to every other year. The difference between a running engine and a costly teardown often comes down to these overlooked details. A sudden metallic knock from below deck. The oil pressure gauge has dropped to single digits below 10 psi. Any mechanic who hears that sound knows what is coming next. Main bearings, designed to glide on a film of oil thinner than a human hair, are now scraping metal on metal. The crankshaft journals, once mirror smooth, show black scoring and heat discoloration. This is not a fluke. It is the signature of oil starvation, a failure that always starts quietly. Most boat owners think an annual oil change is enough. The truth is harsher. Marine engines demand fresh oil every 250 hours, not once a season, and certainly not by the calendar. Skip that interval, stretch it to 400 hours, and the oil thickens with blow-by gases and acid. The protective film breaks down, bearings scuff, friction climbs, and what started as a missed service ends as a $1,200 repair bill. The shop log reads, "Bearing knock, oil dark as tar." The owner swears the engine was fine last week, but the damage was done months ago, every time the gauge dipped and nobody noticed. How many engines are already running on borrowed time, waiting for that one last cold start to finish the job? Every teardown tells the same story. A chain reaction that starts small and ends in catastrophe. The sequence is almost clinical. It begins with a little thermal drift, maybe a slight rise in temperature that nobody catches. The odds of that first step are about 68% when the impeller is overdue. Next, the heat stresses the head gasket. A tiny breach forms, and coolant seeps where it should not. 55% of the time that leak sets up the next domino. Water mixes with oil, turning it cloudy and breaking down the film that protects the bearings. The probability here jumps to 62%. Oil-water contamination does not just sit quietly. It accelerates wear and scuffs crank bearings, raising internal friction. 71% of engines with tainted oil show bearing damage within the next few hundred hours. Once the bearings start to go, the final step is almost guaranteed, an 84% chance of catastrophic failure before the meter ever hits 1,000. The numbers do not lie. Each missed step multiplies the risk, turning what looks like a fluke into a predictable, step-by-step collapse. How many engines right now are quietly halfway down this chain, already failing long before the owner suspects a thing? Insurance companies ran the numbers. Their pilot programs tracked boats that followed a full marine maintenance checklist, including impeller swaps, oil changes by the hour, fuel tank flushes, and anode inspections. The total cost was about $1,600 per 1,000 hours. On paper, that is a lot to swallow for what looks like routine service. But the claims data tells a harder truth. In fleets that stuck to the checklist, catastrophic engine failures dropped by 70%. Compare that to the owner who skips a $45 impeller change and ends up with a $12,000 block replacement, or the one who stretches oil past 400 hours and gets handed a $7,000 teardown bill. The math is not subtle. Spend $1,000 and change up front or roll the dice on a six-figure loss. One mechanic calls it the 200-hour dying line. If you think you are saving money by skipping service, just wait. The engine that dies at 400 hours was already failing at 200, you just did not hear it yet. Right now, another engine sounds healthy. While internal blow-by and creeping galvanic corrosion go unseen, it isn't luck or hours, it's the invisible chain of missed details that seals an engine's fate long before failure. In marine service, what you don't see always costs more. Think you're safe? Think again.